Hi everyone, I have a special update for all of you. During 1927, there was a very powerful earthquake in Israel. And you know, a lot of the Muslims, they said that Israel has no right to the Temple Mount, you know, that there was never a Jewish temple. Nevertheless, there was a powerful quake. The Al-Aqsa Mosque was destroyed, and fixing the Al-Aqsa Mosque, just removing the broken floor, they discovered pavement structures and secret corridors that go back to the second and even first Jewish temple, which is amazing. But let us focus on one thing. How did the Jewish people reacted to that horrible calamity, horrible earthquake? The city of Nablus was really affected, Jericho, many areas in Israel, and a wealthy Jewish guy from the United States and the Jewish community, they donated a lot of money to the poor Arab neighbors that were really badly affected by this earthquake. But how did the Muslims reply to this charity? Well, 2 years later, there was a horrible massacre in Hebron where hundreds of Jews were killed, massacred, butchered, just because they wanted to pray at the Western Wall. They created this kind of a fake rhetoric that the Jews wanted to take all over the world, and that nonsense propaganda. So many Jews were massacred. It's a very sad event in history. So the purpose of this teaching is to tell you how Jews were treated when they were a minority. A lot of people are blasting Israel. Israel is the oppressor, the colonial, this, that. But let us go back in history and see how the Muslims treated the Jewish people when they were a minority. And the reality is that they were wiped out from Mecca. They have been expelled from Morocco, from Tunisia, forced conversions, executions. I mean, it's a tough story, and the whole secret is here in Genesis 16:12. It talks about Ishmael, who is considered to be the father of Islam, and he's the ancestor of most Arabic peoples. It says that he was going to be a beast of a man, a wild man. His hand was going to be against everyone and everyone's hand against him. So this prophecy is revealing exactly what's happening with Islam nowadays. On the other hand, look at Arab Israelis that want to live in peace, that recognize the state. They are lawyers, they are professors, they are doctors, businessmen, taxi drivers. They have the best standard of life in the entire Middle East. But the ones that attack Israel, sadly, they have a very screw life. And let's go again back in history and see how the Muslims treated the Jews when the Jews were a minority and when the issue of Israel Palestine was not in the picture. As I mentioned before, they were massacred in Saudi Arabia by Mohammed since the beginning, expelled from Morocco, expelled from Algeria, expelled from Iraq, expelled from Egypt. Here, you can see actually more recently, there was a pogrom in Hebron right here in 1834. There was another pogrom in Safed. There was another Druze attack in Safed in 1838. There was a forced conversion of Jews in Mashhad. Then there was persecution of Jews in Damascus. Then there were many Jews were murdered in Morocco. Ethnic cleansing of Jewish people from Jerusalem, 1847. Pogroms in Damascus. Total disappearing of Jews of Mashhad, pogrom in Aleppo, anti-Jewish pogrom in Demnate, Morocco. I mean, you can keep going and on. Persecution of Jews in Lebanon, 1862. Marrakesh massacred, 1864. You know, I mean, you keep going, just Alexandria, pogrom in Istanbul, you know, another pogrom in Izmir, 1874. I mean, you can just keep going and on and going and going. It's amazing. Looting of the Jewish quarter in Baghdad, 1889. I mean, it just keeps going and going of terrorism. But the good news is that Yeshua the Mashiach is coming, and he will redeem the Jews. The Jews always have been in the top 5, top 1. What the Jews exported toward the world, the Jews in America are prospering, the greatest lawyers, businessmen, scientists, the Jewish people in Australia, the Jewish people in Europe, the Jewish people in Brazil, Argentina, they are lawyers, they are scientists, always in the top 5, in the top 3, in the top 1, while Islam is just exporting terrorism and destruction. Jews were treated really badly when they were in Muslim lands, but now Muslims that have Israeli ID, they have the greatest standard of life in the Middle East. So don't fall for the deception. It's right here in the Bible. It says that Ishmael was going to be a beast of a man.